Welcome
to the Joy of Code.
Hello, and welcome to episode 394 of the Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Hey, what's up? We're gonna be hacking on some live hacking on some Firefox stuff. I wasn't here last week. That was a mistake. A last minute thing kind of got in my way, and I couldn't work that day. But I'm back. And sorry about that sort of unplanned, unannounced absence. But I'm back, and let's get started. We're gonna get into it. Yeah, it's February 19th, 2025, episode 394. I say this every time. A reminder, no Plan Survives Breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today. I think I know how things are gonna generally roll out. I don't know how quickly they'll go, but I think I know what I want to do today. But that could all go sideways. We could be sidelined, distracted, rat-holed. Who knows what'll happen? We might just end up diving down some interesting side quest, and we don't get to any of the things I wanted to do today at all. That's possible. But more often than not, we stick to the rails. But I haven't pre-written anything. Like any of the code that I'm writing, I'm doing it on the fly as this is streamed. So it's not like pre-written solutions or anything like that. I didn't actually test to see whether or not the bridge was working, and it occurs to me that I should probably do that. So just one quick sec. I need to do a bridge test here. Oh, SmurfD just did a bridge test for me. Thank you very much. It's working beautifully. Thank you very much. Before we continue, I also want to mention that this agenda that we're looking at, it is available to you. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the details section over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's down the video description. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's down the channel details. And as I update the agenda, maybe add some notes or things like that, this little spinny will spin, and if you reload the page, it'll update. Okay, so yeah. I actually skipped an episode last week. There will be no streams for the next 2 weeks as well. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be away. But I will be back on March 12th. So this will be the last stream for just a couple of weeks, and then I'll be back. I had a question come in. Boop, 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 boop. Guess what? You can send in questions. You can send in questions via the forum. That's a great way to send questions in. There's a forum at the bottom of the agenda, or in the middle of the agenda, rather, here, called Rate This Episode. You can give me feedback on the episode. There's also a space in there to ask me a question. This is a question that came in. I'll read it verbatim. Hey, Mike. I have a question about a feature you mentioned in episode 393 of The Joy of Coding. One of the new things that shipped with Firefox 135 were the new AI chatbots. Yeah, we added a sidebar integration. I think, is that in release right now? Let's boot up release and take a quick peek at what's in the... let me just make sure it's up to date. Applying the update. Okay, this is 135. Because I run nightly, so I don't actually sometimes know what's in release. Okay, so the AI chatbot thing is in labs. You can turn it on or off. Now, what it is really is just a sidebar integration. There is the ability to select text as well. So, like if you select some text within an article, you can get. I think there's a way you can get show prompts on text select. Oh, I have to choose a chatbot. Let's say I chose, like, I don't know, Google Gemini. And then if I select some text here, then I get this like little icon, and then I can like choose some actions on it. Anyways, it's just a small integration for people who are interested in using AI chatbots like or LLMs like Gemini, ChatGPT, Cloud, Hugging Chat. LeChat and Mistral, I've never heard of that one. You can also use locally hosted chatbots. That's an interesting one. I believe under browser.ml. I think there's one in here that's like, is there something in here about localhost? Yeah, hide localhost is true. If you set that to false, then one of the things you can choose is, if I reload this page, localhost, and then it'll attempt to find a chatbot hosted at 8080. So if you're running like llama file or something, that might be useful for you as well. And yeah, we just want to give people the opportunity to try it out. Some people out there are very excited about these things. So I guess I had mentioned that in the last episode. One of the new things that shipped with Firefox 135 was the chatbot integration. I'm also aware of a project called Orbit. That's true. There's this project called Orbit, which seems to become the official AI assistant of Firefox one day. Or at least that's how I understand it. I wouldn't make that assumption. So what it is this is an experiment to run an LLM on I believe it's Mozilla's infrastructure, but in particular there's a strong commitment to privacy. So you don't need to use an account, we don't save your session data. And you can, it knows how to summarize a video. It'll like read in the transcript of a YouTube video and then attempt to produce a summary. And I've got it installed here. You can ask it questions about the page you're on. It can kind of like float in the corner. And in particular, like where's the, is my personal information used to train? No, it is not. Does it save the content of the pages I visit or summaries generated? No, it does not. And do I need to create an account? No, you don't. So, we're doing our best here to like take these things, which there are people out there who are really interested in these things, and we're trying to offer people some choice with how it works or how they can use them. And so this is one. Is this the, you make a claim here, question asker, become the official AI assistant of Firefox one day? I wouldn't say so. This is an experiment. It's possible that this could turn into something else. We don't know. We don't know. We're letting people try it out, and we're trying it out ourselves, and we're seeing, I think as a whole, as a population, as a society, we're just like trying these things out and seeing what the effects are and what they're good at and what they're really not good at. And this is one other example of trying stuff out. So are both features related to one another, or will they be merged, or what is the actual difference between these two? Well, I can tell you that they're two completely different teams. This is coming from the... so we have like a dedicated... who works on this? So there's a team that works on AI in general, and machine learning in general. And then there's a team that's working on integrations for AI in the browser. And the latter team is the one that's done the sidebar. And the former team, which they interact with one another, like they're not two silos, they interact with one another. But I think it's the former that's working on Orbit. What's interesting about Orbit is I believe it works inside of other browsers. I think. I don't know if that's actually true, but I suspect it works in other browsers. And what's the other thing about it? I think because it's fully an add-on, that they can iterate a little more quickly. They're not bound to the release train cycle the way that the rest of the browser UI is. So like this is their way of experimenting quickly and trying stuff out and learning quickly, which I think is important in this space because no one knows what's going to happen. And so the more you can learn and the faster you can learn, the better you can make informed decisions. This is interesting. You can adjust your settings, choose the preferred summary length and format. Let's try out Orbit out. Actually, let's go to my blog. I have not blogged in a while. I haven't blogged in like over 5 years. I think when did this blog post come out? 2020, so about 4 years ago. Let's take a look at this particular blog post. Let's see if Orbit can make some sense of it. Can you summarize this page? It discusses the team's efforts to improve Firefox startup time by making the About home page load faster. They achieve this by creating a static version of the page and storing it in a cache, which is loaded at startup instead of dynamically rendering the page. The team documented their findings and presented their recommendation to the team responsible for the About home system, and they plan to lead the static About home page. Start using a special privileged content process in a startup cache. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, I guess I have the ability to change the response format. I can get it in bullets, short sentences, or paragraphs. So that's interesting. Let's try bullet points, and let's ask it about a different blog post. Let's talk about main thread access, main thread disk access. So summarize this page now. Summarize this page. Oh, it's really thinking. I think I may have stumped it. Okay. I argue that main thread disk access is detrimental to program responsiveness. Yup. Modern computers have few mechanical moving parts, with the hard drive being the main exception. Hard drives operate under similar principles as vinyl records with circular parts and moving arms. Fragmentation occurs when files are deleted and new files are written, leading to inefficient reading and writing. Defragmentation attempts to reorganize files for contiguous sectors of the platters, improving read and write speeds. In the common case, reading and writing to the disk is the slowest operation a personal computer can perform. I think the network is actually maybe the slowest part, or it used to be, maybe not these days. Multi-threaded programs can offload complex operations to other threads to improve responsiveness. That's true. Main thread disk access access during startup is acceptable if kept to a minimum. Yes, and disk contention can occur when multiple threads access the disk simultaneously, slowing down the overall operation. That is all true. Now, there's a lot of nuance, I think, being lost there, but I mean, that's what you get whenever you turn what is probably hundreds of words into dozens of words, maybe less than 100 words here, and so many bullets, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bullets. So, you're getting a loss of resolution. Yeah. So, is it useful? That's the question. Is it useful? I think that's what people are trying to find out. Is it useful? What is it useful for? And, what are the costs? Not just the costs in terms of, the compute to run this query, but the training costs and the, what the ripple out effects are of that, and what are the costs to how people, what is the effect? What is the effect of people reading stuff like this and interpreting this rather than this? Like, what are the effects? We don't know. And we may not know for a long time. I think people are studying this right now. They're still trying to figure it out. But I know there's just a lot of excitement in the space, and there has been since, for the past 2 or so years. There's been so much excitement in the space, and users are demanding this kind of integration. So we've made it optional. I know that there's some people who just do not want anything to do with large language models whatsoever. That is a perfectly fine stance to have. I mean, there are some very clear ethical objections to how these things are trained. I think there are some serious concerns about how people interpret and how the general public interprets what these things give back, and the value and the veracity and the errors that can sneak in. And the danger therein, I think there are a lot of very clear concerns there. You don't have to use it in Firefox, that's for sure. So currently it's opt-in from Labs. You have to go into Labs and turn it on. I believe that's the case, and you definitely don't have to use it. The browser will not do LLM stuff, like sending stuff to LLMs over the network without your consent. We won't ever do that. Not unless you know what you're doing. Not unless you've made it clear that that's what you want to do. That would be very much against our ethos. Anyways, so going back to the original question from the poster, are they related to one another? They are related in that they are both using LLMs, but they both come from different teams, and there is a little bit of separation right now in how they are implemented. And I think Orbit is not attempting to be a service like it's not a service like ChatGPT or Gemini or something where you go to a web page and load it. It is an add-on that, from what I can tell, is forwarding to some other what was it? What were the FAQ? Orbit. But it said it at the bottom here. It's like, how does it work? It uses a Mistral LLM hosted within Mozilla's GCP instance. So we don't send it to any other third party. We're running this model ourselves. And we don't record any information. We don't save it. We receive a payload that contains the contents of your query, information about technical problems with processing the query, and the number of tokens required to process the query, and the model outputs in response to the query. We do not store this data beyond temporarily caching it to process your query and return the outputs to you. And then Orbit summaries are only available on the page that you're actually on. As soon as you navigate away from that page, Orbit erases the session. And we don't use any of the information for training. So, let's see. I've tried to explain this a little bit. So there's a little bit of a divide there because I think Orbit is still very this is our attempt at figuring stuff out. Chat GPT and Gemini and those other ones that are integrated in the sidebar, these are like established products that have their own roadmaps. They have their own infrastructure running them. These are services where you might need an account. You might need to maybe you're already paying for an account for one of those, and then they can be integrated. Orbit is like Mozilla's attempt at offering this kind of capability, but in a more privacy-preserving way. And I don't know if this is just an experiment. It's very much an experiment. Like, one thing to note is if you go here, it just says beta at the top. And that is just a way of us, I think, saying like, hey, we don't know how this is going to go. We're going to put this out in front of people and see what it's like. And we may shut it down. We may pivot it. We may extend it. Who knows? Like, we have to see kind of how people react to it and whether or not it's actually driving any interest in people. Are they getting value out of it? Is it helping them do what they need to do? All right, so I don't know if that answered your question. I did my best to answer this question. There's a lot I don't know. I don't work on either of those teams. I have reviewed some of the patches for the sidebar stuff. In particular, there's the context menu. I reviewed some patches related to this. This allows you to choose a selection of text, and then you can ask a chat bot to do things with it, or you can remove it altogether. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, back to what we were doing. Hey, guess what? It's been a while. And we were documenting customizable UI, and the last time we rebased on February 5th, so beginning of this month. We're gonna rebase again, get rebase onto Bookmark Central. I think I pulled yesterday. So let's rebase these two patches. See if we've got any conflicts. No conflicts, that's very nice. We're gonna do an artifact build, and we're gonna keep going with where we were inside of customizable UI, which, if I remember correctly, we had reached register build area, register build window, unregister, set location attributes. We're down in here, and it looks like we got to about here, insert node and window. And we've got a number of find insertion points. That's the next one. We're going to document this one next. What does this do? Right. And let's see. We'd modified some other bits and pieces. Normalize widget. We've done a fairly comprehensive job so far, but we have to keep going. So find insertion points. What does this do? First of all, is this called from anywhere else? No, it is not. It's just this one place. It's only called internally. We're in customizable UI internal, which is not exposed, so this is only internal. That's nice. It takes a node and an area node. So we'll say DOM node and DOM node, presumably. Widget node. Get widget node returns widget node index is a DOM node. Okay, widget node index 1 is a DOM node, and then area node that comes from here. That is a DOM node. Okay. And what are we doing? We're returning another array. In this case, it's an array of 2 elements, and it looks like it's the container and then something else. So we're gonna do kind of like what we did with get widget node, where we're gonna have like a type def for a result. Find insertion points. So we'll go type def find insertion points. And it looks like we return whatever get customization target returns. The customization target DOM node are null. Okay. So it could be null. Or a DOM node. And then next node. It could be a DOM node or null. Okay. So now we have to document those things. We're going to put these in here. And this is the find insertion points result. And then we'll say that that's what this returns. And so what are we actually doing here? We get the ID of the area. If the property is related to the area, we figure out whether or not we're inside the overflowable toolbar. And if so, we're going to find the overflowed insertion points on the overflowable toolbar. Does that? I know that that has documentation. Finds the most appropriate place to insert toolbar item A node if we've been asked to put it into the overflowable toolbar without being told exactly where. Ah. Okay. Find insertion points. So we're going to say, hey, find the customization target within the area. And then we get the placements for the area and the current index of the node. So is the node already in the area? Find insertion point. Huh. Okay, so node index, in the event that, let's say for the sake of argument that a node is not in the area, then this will be -1, and this loop will still work. We will increment it early. That's what the ++ is for. So this would start with 0. Well, we're less than the number of items in placements. We will find the next node. In the placements, and then we'll find the element. We use a area node because if a node is in a template, its owner document is not going to be in the browser XHTML documents. We cannot rely on it. Okay, fair enough. If the next placed widget exists and is a direct child of the container or wrapped in a customized mode wrapper inside the container, insert beside it. We have to check the parent to avoid errors when the placement IDs are for nodes that are no longer customizable. So we start at the very beginning. If there is a next node, and the next node parent node is the container, or it's the toolbar palette item and the parent node is the container. What? If this is true, parent node equals container. I see. Oh boy. Then we will return the container, which is the customization target for the area node, and the next node that we would presumably insert before, or have inserted before. Maybe that's what it is. It's like, find the place. Okay, I think I understand. Let's say you've got your placements array, but you haven't necessarily reflected that in the DOM yet. So you've got a widget and you've got an area. You need to figure out, okay, well, where do I insert before for a given widget or a given node? Where am I going to insert that in this area, given the placements list? So that we reflect. Yeah, the area will reflect the placements list. Okay, so given a node that may exist within an area, find, given a node, I'm not going to say may exist, that exists within an area, because I think at this point, it's only called from here. Widget with a the past area node, the widget position dictated by internal positioning state for widgets. We'll get the widget node, get the area ID. Widget with ID into the past area node in the position dictated by customizable UI's internal positioning state for widgets. Sure. Get placement of widget, if not placement. Insert node. Window. Customization. Areas with area ID. Inserts a node associated with the customizable target. Inserts a node associated with a customizable widget with a widget ID, a widget ID into all the areas with a area ID across all windows. Okay. Given a node that may exist within an area, find the find the place where it makes the most sense to insert that node in the DOM. If the node or given a node for a customizable widget that may exist, that may have a placement within an area, find the location in the DOM where it makes the most sense to insert that node. In the event of there being a placement for a node in a area node, this will be the insertion point. This insertion point will be before this insertion point will reflect the index of the node in that area's placements array. In the event of there not being a pre-existing placement for a node in a area node, the node will be prepended to the area. Okay. Returns a find insertion point result. And then we'll document it up here. The first element will be the container. The container that that the node should be inserted into, or null if no such container can be found. The node that the insertion should occur before, or null if no such sibling can be found. Okay. Okay. That was a little difficult to reason about. Insert widget before. I think these are related. I'll bet you people will call find insertion points and then insert widget before, right? Inserts a node associated with a widget before some other node within a container within a customizable area. A node. That could be null. Customization target. That could also be null, right? Customization target. Yeah, if the element doesn't exist. Okay. So it expects a DOM node, another DOM node, another DOM node, and another DOM node. And that's probably the set location attributes, a area. Oh, it's an ID, a area ID. A area ID, so that's a string. So insert widget before, what it's called. Yeah. Area. Rename symbol. Okay. That's a string. The widget, customizable widget node to insert. The node that should, and that can I think be null. The node that should be next should, the node that the custom inserted node should be inserted before, or null if it should be inserted. Whenever you insert before and pass null for the next node, what did we do? Wait, insert before, yeah, insert before reference node. If this is null, it's inserted at the end of the child nodes. At the end of the node's child nodes. Or null if it should be inserted at the end. The node, there's not, there, in the event of there not being a pre-existing placement, it's weird. This one will try and insert it before, because it's, if we can't find a placement for it, then this will be -1. and then it'll become 0 here, and then the very first node that we find will insert before. And this one, I guess if we can't find it, then insert at the end. All right. Or null should be inserted at the end of a container. The container of both a node and a next node. The parent, I'll say, the parent node of both a node and a next node, and a area ID. The ID, the identifier string of the area that a node is being inserted into. And this does not return anything. Notify DOM change. Oh boy. Okay. So fires the on widget before DOM change and on widget after DOM change events with the a callback. Fires the on widget before DOM change event, then calls a callback before firing the on widget after DOM change event. The node and what on widget before DOM change. What do we document this? To add, move, or remove it. Let's copy that for now. The node that is changing, that is being changed. And this, I think, can be null. The node, the node next immediately after the one changing, or null if there is no next node in the container. Oh, and we're using element here? Shoot. I've been using DOM node like a fool. Element, container. Does that mean I have to update all of these as well? I might have to do them all at once. I'll do it later. The container of the node that is being changed is remove. True if the action about to happen is the removal of the DOM node. Callback, it's a function. A synchronous function that should fire after on widget before, that will fire, that will be called after on widget before DOM change is fired. The event is fired, but before on widget after DOM change is fired. No return value. Okay. Might have to do a find and replace in here. DOM node, element. Let's start from the top. Replace place. Element. All right. That's done. What's this one worried about? Prefer capital F function. Okay. Handle event. I don't know if we need to general event handler for customizable UI internal currently handles the following event types. I guess I'll just, command event or mouse event or key event or unload. What is unload event? Unload event. What kind of event is that? Generic event. A general event handler for customizable UI internal that mostly just dispatches to more specialized event handlers based on the event type. Original event in panel. That takes a command event. And what do we do? It's returning Boolean. Original event in panel. So we take a command event. If there's no source event, we return false. We find the target of the event and get the panel for the node. Returns the closest Zool panel element to the node in the ancestry. If there's no such panel, then we don't worry about it. We get the window associated with the event and see whether or not the panels, one of the tracked panels, G panels for window, whether or not, so that must be, it's a weak map. We have a set, either there's going to be G panels for window. What does it contain? Set, it's going to be a weak map. I think I can do better here. Type weak map element to set. And set, sorry, it's going to be a set of element. Yeah, okay. Original event in panel determines, returns true if the command event is being fired on a target that exists in one of the panels that customizable UI internal customizable UI tracks in G panels for window. True. command event. I think yeah, that's probably enough. Get special ID for node. That's element. Oh, but it could also be an object and local name. Get the ID. Get special ID for node. I guess. What is special widget if the node is an object? Get the ID. If the local name starts with toolbar, return the local name subst 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? Why would you do that? Best. Hey, there's a spammer in the channel. Feel free to kick him with prejudice. This is bizarre. So we accept a couple of things here, looks like. Is special widget. We'll take a widget ID. Special widget. We'll take in a widget ID. Check a widget is special. A widget, a spring, a spacer, a separator. So it takes a string. This is so weird. So it looks like it accepts an object, but if it's not an object, we'll just return the node. Where does that come from? What the heck? Who wrote this? I'm gonna find out it was me. Oh, thank you, Smurf D. My man. It's gonna be me, right? No. Okay, it wasn't me. Well, that's good. That was one of my colleagues. Well, I'm sure they had a good reason. Let's see the full diff. When would you pass an object to get special ID for node? Is special widget. What was this fixing? Fix flexible spacers not being removable in some circumstances. The goal of this patch is to ensure that in default placement specials have no unique IDs. In actual placements are as stored by CUI. They do. We reset the counter for these unique IDs on reset. We renumber the specials when building an area, ensuring that the actual nodes always match the placements for a given area. We force saves after resetting to ensure that the GNU element count is always persisted correctly. This will also fix this other bug. This is back in the day. Not that far though, 2017. It was years after we were doing years after we introduced customizable UI. But all right, I won't judge it. I don't know why it's here. We're here to document, not to judge, not to fix the world necessarily. We're just here to document, observe, and report. So returns the local name starts with toolbar though. Like, why would you? Like, let's say x equals toolbar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X dot starts with toolbar, true. X dot substring 7. Oh, it's cutting off everything else. I understand. That's good. Okay. That's why you're doing it. You're cropping off everything. I forgot how substring worked. Okay. So, if past an element, a DOM element, a DOM node, this will return the ID attribute for the node if it exists. If it doesn't, it will check to see if the element starts with the, check if the element local name starts with toolbar, and if so, return the rest of the local name after that string. So this means that for a toolbar separator, without an ID, this will return separator. If the element does not have a local name that starts with toolbar, this will return the empty string. If a node happens to be a string instead, so it'll also accept a string. Instead of an element, a DOM node, this simply returns the string back. All right, so I'm going to say a node or string. Change rename symbol, a node or string. A node to get the special identifier for, node to try to get the special identifier for, or a string that will be echoed back to the caller. Returns string. The special identifier for the node or the empty string or a node or string in the event that a node or string happened to already be a string. It's not my favorite. Okay, is special widget. So presumably that could also be widget. ID current node. So here's an example of it being a node rather than a string. Okay, so they can be nodes. They can be elements or a string. So I'm going to say a node or string. Or maybe a string or node. And then maybe this one can also be a string or node. just to, because I think the default case is that it's a string, or like that's the more common one. Returns true if the passed in ID or node happens to be one of the special widget types, a separator, a spring, or a spacer. Okay. An ID for a node or an actual node itself to check for specialness. Returns true if the ID or node belongs, happens to be, resolves to a special widget type. Returns Boolean. Matching specials. Hey, we're getting some freebies down here. These look like they're already done. That's nice. Are most of the rest of these? Oh, we're really getting some freebies here. That's very nice. Some of this looks familiar. Did I somehow skip these? Is that what happened? Is that why we're back here and like in the 2000s? Did I somehow skip some stuff in the past weeks? And that's why there's suddenly a bunch of other stuff here that is already like defined? If so, we might just get a bunch of freebies in a row, and that'd be a real nice way to blast forward. So I guess that'll be string or element and string or element. Returns true if the passed in strings or elements or nodes happen to have matching special to be the same, happen to be the same special widget. So the first string ID or element to compare, the second ID or element to compare to the first, returns Boolean. True if the two strings or elements being compared refer to the same special widget. Ensure special widget ID. Okay, this one's definitely a string. String, and it returns a string. Takes if the string starts with any of spring, spacer, or separator, any of the special widget types, this will, if the AID string, this will add a unique numeric identifier. This will add the special widget prefix to the ID, as well as a numeric suffix, unique numeric suffix at the end and return it. Otherwise, this simply echoes back the AID string. The AID string with the special widget prefix and numeric unique ID, unique numeric suffix, if the AID string is for a special widget. Otherwise, this just echoes back AID. Okay, and then we get some freebies. Freebie, freebie, freebie. Free, also free. Yes, yes, so good. Also free. I want to break free. I want to break free. Auto-hide panel. We're just blasting forward. Yes. Widget exists. Add widget to area. Remove widget from area. Move widget within area. Get saved horizontal snapshot. Oh yeah, I remember doing these. So we just must have skipped some. That's what happened. Oh man, so we're blasting forward. Holy cow. Okay, I see a warning here. Invalid JS doc. It prefers symbol rather than a lowercase s. Okay. Let's go. Create built-in widget. Yeah. Area lazy normalize the widget. I remember doing all this. Freebie. Freebie. Customize target for area. Reset. Reset UI state. Okay. Okay. And then we haven't done this one yet. Are we almost at the bottom? We're almost at the bottom. I don't know. We might not make it this time. I really want to make it. I really want to make it this time. Where are we? Nope. Where are we? Clear previous UI state. Rebuild registered areas. That one we haven't done yet. Okay, so we're here. Okay. For all registered areas, what do we do? For all registered areas, builds those areas. And when do we do this? We would do this probably after a reset or an undo reset. Builds those areas to reflect the current placement state of all widgets. Okay. Do reset undoes a previous reset, restoring the state of the UI to the state prior to the reset. True. Clear previous UI state. When do we do that? Reset clear previous UI state. Okay. Clears the persisted state that was saved, that was snapshotted just before the most recent reset of the state. Yeah. Easy, easy. Can widget move to area? I feel like that's a freebie. Yes, it is a freebie. C, customizable UI, can widget move to area? And then how have I done this before? It's like, I just copy the names. Can widget move to area? copy the args. Types. Okay. Ensure widget placed in window. That's another freebie. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, it's missing a return value. Return ensure widget placed in window. The window. Is there a return value? Yeah, there's a return value. Returns Boolean. But what does it mean? Get the placement of the widget. If the widget is, if there's no placement, return false. Make sure that there are area nodes. There's a build area for the placement. If there are none, return false. If let the container equals, we'll create a container filter for all area nodes for the build areas. Filter them just for the window we care about. If there's no such container, return false. Find the I don't know what. I guess this is prior to query selector. Find the existing node. If we find it, insert return true. Otherwise, if we get here, return true. Otherwise, insert the node and then return true. So I guess that's a success. Oh boy. True if the widget was successfully placed in the window or was already placed in the window. False if something goes wrong with checking for the presence of the widget in the window. It's not the greatest. Was that me? Who did this? Who did this? It might have been me. I reviewed it. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and copy. Ensure as rule-based widget created in a window after areas where initialize moves to its correct position. Always prefer this over moving items in the DOM yourself. Why is this API per window, you wonder? Because if you need this, presumably you yourself need to create the widget in all the windows and need to loop through them anyway. Okay. So C customizable UI and ensure widget placed in window. Yes. Get current widgets in container. I think I can document that. We're almost there. We're almost there. I'm trying not to get too excited, but we're almost there. There's just a bit left. Let's try and get it done. Let's try and get it done today. Container. That's an element, right? Element. Widgets container. Yeah, it's going to be an element. I think we can just use this. Use this. Returns a list of all widget IDs in the container, in this container, including any that are overflown or overflowable containers. Container returns a set. Right? Ordered placements. Filter. Oh, maybe not. Get widget IDs in area. What's this going to return? An array. So there's going to be an array of widget IDs. So we create a set of widgets, or an empty set. We have this helper function, and we get the customization target for the container. We go through each of the children. We see if any of them are toolbar palette items, and if so, we unwrap them. We get the insides. And if they don't have skip and toolbar set, we'll add the real node's IDs to current widgets in the container. If the container is overflowing, then we'll get the overflow target, and then we'll find all the unskipped children and also add them to current widgets in the overflow. And if there is a web extension overflow target, we'll also add those. Then we'll get the widgets that are reported to be in that area, filter them based on areas that are present, avoids including items that don't exist. For example, IDs of add-ons, items. Oh, I see. So we get the widget IDs in the area, and we filter out so that it's just the ones that exist within current widgets, or the provider is the provider API. Okay. Okay. The list of widget IDs that currently the list of widget IDs that currently exist within container. This is separate. This is notably, this does not include IDs of widgets that have been previously saved, placed within this container but are not currently registered. All widget IDs actively in this container. Currently registered, for example, for uninstalled extensions. Okay, done. In default state, so that's going to be a type boolean true if the customizable UI is in the state that we ship by default. The customizable UI state of the browser is in the default, the stock state that is shipped by default. Get collapsed toolbar IDs. Aha! Another freebie. Ha ha! See? Customizable UI, get collapsed toolbar IDs. Set toolbar visibility. Ah, yes! Another freebie! See, customizable UI, set toolbar visibility. It's gonna be, I'm gonna copy. Yeah, Peter. Yeah. Uncle Big Boss, see? Okay. No return value. Widget is likely visible. Oh, no. Yes. 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 See, widget is likely visible. Okay, this is the observer. That's not going to have a pre-existing one, I don't think. SI observer implementation observes for toolbar visibility changes or preference changes. Subject, it's going to be an I supports, I think. Like, what is... Yeah, string topic. And then what's data? That's going to be a string data. Japadi asks, "Hello, Mike. I have a question for you if you have a minute." Well, go ahead. Write the question and see. We'll see what I can do. Initialize for tabs orientation. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. This is a more complicated one. And this is going to be what? Boolean? Return value. True if the tab orientation is vertical. False if horizontal. Initialize for tabs orientation. This happens inside of initialize. Interesting, that's down here. Initializes customizable UI for the current tab orientation. That's it. That's it. You can skip past it. Nothing else to say. Reconcile sidebar prefs. And initialize. Okay. So what do we do here? Tabs. Okay. Reconcile sidebar prefs. This occurs when? Okay. Currently, the new sidebar and vertical tabs have a tight relationship with one another, and specifically vertical tabs. The new sidebar is a dependency for vertical tabs. They are, however, controlled by two separate preferences. Since those preferences can be in a total of 4 states, this function does the work of updating the this function does the work of changing the vertical tab state if the sidebar pref changes and vice versa. Pref changed. It's going to be string. The preference that the key for the preference that changed. Now I seem to recall that what this was, when this is called by initialization, the preference that changed. Okay, that's fine. Japity asks, there was a Reddit post about an add-on that fixes a bug in Firefox. There's a description of what it does on the add-on page. I think you are so wise. Well, that's very kind of you. So you know in a minute if it's true. The add-on's name is Audio Context Suspender. Audio Context Suspender. Audio Context Suspender. Oh, it's for Android. Is this for Android? Audio Context Suspender. Here we go. Many websites seem to be opening audio contexts without ever suspending them, even if they don't play any sound. This leads to high CPU utilization, therefore increased energy consumption. This extension fixes that problem. Oh, I have heard of this. In fact, there was something that I read about recently. Where's the bug number? Is there a Bugzilla? So there's this bug. Let me drag over here. And I know that Paul Adeno on our media team had mentioned that there's work underway to fix this. But it sounds like audio context suspender might bypass this problem and help avoid the CPU usage. Let's look at the source. How does it work? Oh, and here, related Firefox bugs. This was closed as works for me 3 years ago. It's playing silence all the time. Not closing, should move it to tasks. There's a problem with the web app, contact SoundCloud. Okay, stop streaming audio when muted. So how does it work? So it's monkey patching. Okay, what does it do here? Timeouts, auto, suspended. If the context state is suspended, return. Buffer. So it monkey patches creating the buffer. And monkey patches audio context on every web page. So I seem to recall this conversation that I think this made some kind of like Hacker News thread. I don't normally read Hacker News, but I think I remember hearing from Paul about this. This is planned and important and we'll fix it hopefully soon. It's long overdue. I'm sorry this hasn't happened yet. It's always a game of priorities that can never satisfy everybody on time. It, however, ranks fairly high on my personal list. As one could imagine, it's a bit more complicated than just pausing the audio context after some time of silence. We'll get it fixed regardless. It's possible because others did it. There are trade-offs we're willing to do. Yeah, he is part of the media team, Paul Adeno. So let me see here. What is your question? There was a Reddit post, is description, is it true that it fixes it? It sounds like it's a workaround, but it sounds like the proper fix is probably going to have to occur in the platform. And it sounds like Paul Adeno is on the case. He's gonna try and fix it the proper way, so then people don't need the extension anymore. But apparently it is more complicated than it sounds, which is usually the case. I mean, there are other things too, like as a web browser, we must make sure that we abide by, well, there are a number of things. It's like we have to make sure that we are abiding by the web specification. That's not what, like, add-ons don't have to abide by the web specification. We do. So we have to make sure that we do that whenever we make our change here. And then we have to do it in a performant way that doesn't necessarily change legitimate uses of audio context. So we kind of have to be careful here. the people who are using this thing, how many are there? 63. 63. So, that might not be a fully accurate number. Maybe it's more like hundreds. But this set of people, it's fine that they install it and that changes. It monkey patches audio context. They can change their browser however they want. But if we do it as like the platform, as the web browser, we have to be like very careful and make sure that we abide by the web specification. And so it sounds like this is a thing that we want to do, that we want to invest time in doing. Paul Adeno is on the case, but it's going to be a little more complicated than monkey patching the way that this extension does. But in the meantime, from the looks of it, this extension is doing the monkey patching, and if that works for you, great. You should use it if that works for you. And that can help reduce maybe some of the CPU load. Because I guess there are some sites that are keeping audio context open and just playing white noise or silence or something, which is not a great use of your CPU. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. It's 2:33. Do we have to call it here? I hope not. I was hoping we could finish. Let's see what time. I have a meeting coming up. Tab strip area is ready. This is a type boolean true if the tab strip if we build areas, the tab strip, the horizontal and vertical tab strips have been registered. Is this exposed? No. Horizontal and vertical tab strips have been registered. Update tab strip orientation. Updates the vertical or horizontal state of the tab strip to best match the current preference, preference value. And we did it! We did it! Phew, 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 phew. How do I play some noises? We did it!
Hi-oh!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's right! That's right! That's right!
Well, folks, we did it. We documented all of customizable UI internal. Let me commit that right now before my computer explodes. Look at all those changes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and commit that change. Git commit amend. And then, oh, it needs to be made prettier. Fine, make prettier. Then I think all that's left is to document customizable widgets. And if we're feeling spicy, we could try and document panel UI, but I really don't know if I want to. I'm getting bored of this project, but maybe we should complete it. But I'm particularly happy that we got to the end of customizable UI internal. That was a big one. Okay, so then all of that gets restyled. Fine. Git add that, git commit amend. So next time on March 15th, I think is when I said the next stream would be. Let's take a look at customizable widgets. That's the last module to document in here. And it's not nearly as long. It's only 695 lines. And then maybe we can think about panel UI.js. And then when that's done, let's post it all up for review. And then maybe we can think about this types stuff. Because like some more work has happened since then. There's like been this bug file, this meta bug file about 16 days ago about better TypeScript integration. to make it so that we can use the TypeScript compiler to examine our JS doc. And maybe there's a little bit we can do to push on this, and we can get some type safety inside of the customizable UI code. All right. Well, I'm going to cap it there. Thanks again for watching episode 394 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you thought of the episode. There's a link here to rate this episode. I'll go ahead and drop that link to rate this episode. I'm going to put it in the chat if you don't want to read the agenda. And you can let me know what you thought. You can rate it. You can send me questions if you got more questions like this one, or maybe you want to ask me about other add-ons out there in the wild. I can rate your add-on. If you've written an add-on, we can take a look at the code, see how it works. I don't know. And we're closing in on episode 400. So if you've got an idea of something I should do that's kind of new and special and interesting for episode 400, give me some ideas. I could really use them. And with that, I'll call it there. Thanks again for watching The Joy of Coding. I will see you in a couple of weeks on whenever that was, March 12th. That's when it is. I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See you.